Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
here,
Hey.
but
Hello.
hello,
Hey, Rick.
I can't get my video going. I don't know why. Oh, but go ahead. Oh, good. We got Nick here. Good. There'll be a couple more, I think, join us, but yeah, here's Scott. I'll try to get my video going. Boy, I don't.
Hey, Russ, before we get started, yeah, I want to join you guys in June, if that's okay, on Mount Wilson.
That would be wonderful.
I'll
Yeah.
see if
You
I can-
were a lifesaver on Kit Peak.
see if I can get with Rick and Dave and see what we need for infrastructure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, we'll let you know after our Mount Wilson run in, 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
Great. Yep.
yeah.
Well, hello, Nick.
Hello.
Welcome to our Friday morning get together. Actually, it's Friday afternoon for me, but
It's Friday evening for me.
right.
Yeah.
So I asked Nick to join this week because we have this interesting issue about whether we want to, first of all, whether we want to auto set the exposure automatically, or whether, maybe it's better just to read it off of the spreadsheet. I've been thinking about that quite a bit, and I'm not quite sure what to do, but maybe we should put that aside and first talk about Mount Wilson, because it's probably the thing that, everybody is most interested in. Let me tell you what the current plan is. Russ, do you have a flight yet?
Negative, and I was waiting to see what the pickup time was at LAX.
Right. So Calais is arriving at about 8:15 or so, and
AM or
Sophie-
PM?
PM on Thursday night.
Mhm.
And Sophie's arriving with her father around 11:15 or so, as I recall.
For some reason, that was the only flight from Florida. They had like 5 flights a day, 5 flights a week from my airport. It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Nothing in the middle of the week.
11:15 PM, I take it.
PM, right. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pick everybody up at the airport. But I'll pick up Calais and bring her to the house and drop her off. And then later I'll pick up Sophie and her father, kind of the middle of the night for me, but that's okay.
Thank you
Okay,
very,
well,
very much.
I'll join the early one with Clay, and so I'll get in before 8:15. So I'll be there when
Okay.
Clay gets there, and I can keep Clay company while you're picking up
Super.
So Sophia and Misha.
Misa. And then Leon is coming Friday afternoon, and we're going to pick him up, I suppose, on the way to Mount Wilson. He's arriving at 2 p.m. So the airport is part of the way up in that direction. Yeah, right. Well, you can sleep in the monastery, I suppose. So that's all the plan I have. I'm not sure where I'm going to put everybody, but we can kind of decide that when you see what's available. I've got mattresses and so forth we can pull out and whatever. If you're not worried about it, I'm not worried about it either. So, okay. And then I think, Calais, you're staying at the monastery?
Yeah, so well, I need to coordinate with Tom because I was instructed to check with him mid-March about the state of the pipes and whether they're frozen. So I'm gonna do that. I mean, I'm gonna have a backup hotel at the bottom of the mountain because my son and husband are doing drivers. He passed, by the way. Thanks for
Oh, right.
finally.
Congratulations.
They're going to be driving down to practice get his hours in. You need 50 hours to get a license. So they're going to come join us. I figure freeway, LA, and up a mountain is a great practice. And so they'll join us Friday and Saturday. And Rob Zellum might come up and check us out on Friday as well, depending on how things work out. So it'll be a party on the mountain Friday night. He won't stay in the monastery. So anyway, I'm going to check with Tom in the middle of the month. Sorry for that
Right.
long thing that could have been shorter.
Of course, and we can play it by ear, at the time. So if it's whatever. And my house is I've got a barbecue in the back. It's about 100 years old, but it still works, and sort of. And we can have a barbecue at my place on Saturday. I know everybody probably wants to get together and debrief or whatever, just drink some beer and have a barbecue. That would be great. So we can do that. And otherwise we can just play it by ear. Whoever wants to go, my truck is at your disposal. Thank you. Anyway, the truck is at your disposal, and we can do whatever we need to. So people can ride up and down with me. Okay. Right.
I don't see
Okay.
Russ. I'm sorry, Pat. Is Pat here? Pat
Yeah,
Boyd?
Pat's here.
Yep, Pat's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So Pat, you and I are planning to drive up on Friday, right?
Right.
And Dave, do you have a need for us to pick people up or drop them off, or
Yeah.
what do you think?
So at the moment, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and my truck really comfortably holds 5. I mean, I suppose, it's how do you put, no, I won't go into that. But so so it'd be great if you could pick somebody up and drive them up the mountain.
Yeah, we could go by LAX on our way up. I mean, it's probably as short as, well, I'd prefer not to go right through downtown, which is probably the shortest route. So either you go way to the east, or you go through LA, past LAX. So we could
Well, you
pick somebody up.
take 405.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
And 405 goes right by LAX.
But who would we pick up and when?
Well, you'd pick up Leon
We
then.
could pick up Leon at that time.
What time was his again?
I think it's 2:45, but
Yeah.
it's in the
Yeah,
time frame.
2 something.
Yeah, that'd work fine. We could pick up Leon.
I've got also, I failed to mention that Nate wants to come up too, and I'd like for him to come. He's been doing a lot of speckle with us.
He can just drive up with us.
Yeah, I think so. So we'd have 3 in your vehicle. That's
Yeah, there's room for 7. So
room for 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we certainly have room for Leon too. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we'll talk about that a little bit later when everything is the week before. The other piece of business is I'm now free to move this meeting back to 10 a.m. Pacific time. That probably works better for Calais. I don't know if it's okay with the rest of you, but if you want, move it back to 10 a.m. next week.
Good with me.
Okay, so that's a deal.
Okay.
And then further news is the 1 meter has filters and a camera on it, but no Barlow for various reasons I won't go into. We can get a Barlow put on it fairly easily, but apparently they've got to make another adapter, another misinterpretation of a drawing or something. I don't know. Anyway, so there's no Barlow on it. The current image scale is 0.13 arc seconds per pixel. And that'll get us down to, 0.6 of an arc second separation pushing it. We have, believe it or not, we're going to have the scope for 1 week a month during, of course, the bright moon period, which doesn't bother us that much. It reduces the SNR a bit, but we certainly can live with that. So we're going to be doing speckle on the 1 meter. As soon as I can figure out how to get on the machine and make it work, I'll need some training from Matt. We'll do that. So Matt and Sophie and Leon and I will do that. And anybody else who's interested, we'll get on one night and we'll give it a try and see how it goes. So keep that in mind. I don't have a moon calendar in front of me. I suppose I could bring it up. When's the next bright moon period? Anybody have the info in front of them?
I think it's the middle of the month, middle of March.
Great. So it's coming up.
The last full moon was February 16th, so it ought to be about 4 weeks from then.
Should be March 16th or thereabouts, March 17th. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'll be back in LA, which is good, near the Ides of March. What are the Ides of March? Is that some is there a mythology involved with that?
It was Caesar.
Yep.
I think it's the 15th, the middle.
Okay, good.
My calendar says the 18th is the full moon in March. So
All right, so around that week, we'll be trying the 1 meter for the first time. It has a QHY 600 camera. Nick and Leon have been, Nick, I think mostly been working on automating that. So I'd like to switch the discussion to that because maybe Nick is bored with all of this other conversation. I don't know. So the idea here is, can we automate the exposure time? And that sounded easy at first, and the more I thought about it, the more interesting it kind of became. For the following reason. In many cases, we want the exposure time to be very short, even if the star isn't very bright. And in many cases, I couldn't, using fire capture, you wouldn't even see the star on the screen at that exposure time. And the histogram in fire capture is useless for this purpose too. So I would simply, take 1,000 images and run it through the processing, and you'd see the double star, or you'd see the star, the target in the Fitz cube as you reviewed the Fitz cube and so forth. So it's going to be very important. It may not be possible really to automate the exposure. I don't know, because it's really not something that conforms to any normal practice, in the sense that typically you'd bring the exposure time for a bright object up to maybe third well at the brightest pixel, and then you just run maybe your video at that exposure time. But that might be way too long for speckle. So, speckle likes very short exposures. Otherwise, as the atmospheric turbulence moves across the aperture, you're getting various amounts of diffraction, and that causes the speckles to move and jump around and so forth. And that actually averages out the high frequency information which you're trying to keep. So we take short exposures to try to retain the high frequency information that's in the image, even though the image is scrambled into speckles. It's not quite exactly what happened. Speckles are good enough. You've got to freeze those speckles in each image to retain the high frequency information. And so if you take a 12th mag star, I can bring up my favorite little tiny spreadsheet here.
Oh,
Maybe that's a good idea. Just to focus our attention. Can you allow me to share the
I
screen
thought I did.
already?
I think,
Good.
yeah,
Yeah. So this is the 24-inch in Chile. Actually, Leon, I think it was, or it was Rick, modified the spread. Was it you, Rick?
Oh, yeah, I did something with it.
Yeah, you modified the spreadsheet and made it a lot more useful. So anyway, let's go through it. The elevation, to be precise, is 1,500 meters, roughly. And let's take an object brightness. A typical star we might do on that would be a 12th mag primary. And image scale is correct. That's okay. So here's a 1/10 of a second exposure. We're getting 5,000 photoelectrons in the entire star, and that's spread over the seeing disk. The thing is, though, that it may be far better for speckle for a 12th mag star to do, maybe a 40 millisecond exposure, not 4 seconds, sorry. Or something, and then there's only 2,000 photoelectrons spread across an area that might be a couple of hundred pixels. So it might only be 100 photoelectrons per pixel, which is way, way lower than a third well. The well capacity might be, Nick, 20,000 electrons per pixel or something. Full well, so a half well is 10,000. So a normal exposure of a planet might be up in the several thousand photoelectrons per pixel, and here we might want to have 100 photoelectrons per pixel. That's the problem with auto exposure. So I don't quite know what to do. So suggestions, what do you think?
Yeah, well, my initial idea at the beginning of this week was maybe just take a couple of images and then check the maximum pixel, how much signal you're getting in all the pixels on that scale, and then basically just say, well, if I get a maximum of, I don't know, a pixel which is like I don't know, 1,000 or so, or 500 or whatever. So the maximum should be a couple of times above the mean, kind of thing, which would, yeah, if you say, yeah, you want say like 3 times above mean, I would just take faster or more images and until I get the pixel count that I want, which is like 3 or 4 times above mean, and that'll say, well, the star is in there, so it, yeah, the star signal is then just above mean, so that could be a good image then.
Nick, would your mean be the total mean of the image or in the subframe, or is it just?
Yeah,
the-
for the just the subsample frame. So that's yeah. So it's the frame is then like 256 by 256, and then I'll just take the mean of that the image, and check the maximum the maximum pixels, and check if they're yeah. So if so basically the maximum pixels that will be the star itself, and if that's like 3 or 4 times above mean, that should be enough for speckle imaging.
So
I
what do
guess.
we do about, hot pixels or warm pixels in the camera?
Yeah, I still have to do some testing with that. I have the feeling that they're already taken out of that calculation. But I have to test out more.
Yeah, so I guess what I would do for an estimate of what the brightness of the current exposure is I would calculate the total signal and then divide it by the number of pixels in the circular diameter of the full width half max or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the RMS or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a much safer, it's a kind of a way to average or you can use a hot pixel filter first on the image and then take what's left, because a hot pixel filter will effectively kill, anything that's above the local average. So, yeah. The trouble is I would like to be able to set the maximum exposure irregardless of the brightness of the star. So on one limit, I wouldn't go over the maximum exposure that is specified by the observer, right? In the spreadsheet, there should be a maximum exposure time. And you don't want to exceed that, even if the star can't be detected in the image. And then for bright stars, like for reference stars, this could easily be what, seventh mag or something for a reference star. Now we've got, too many photoelectrons. And then it's important to reduce the exposure to so that the brightest pixel, taking some kind of average, the brightest pixel is no more than half well. That would work fine. So it's really on the bright end of the target spectrum that we would want to adjust the exposures downward from the maximum exposure.
Yeah, I could do the same calculation on the reference star.
Yep.
So yeah, that could be the same kind of calculation, and yeah, definitely there could be a maximum exposure. But I mean, the way I've been testing it just sort of starts at 1 millisecond and then keeps adding a millisecond to the exposure time until it gets enough signal. So that would mean that the signal and the signal of the star should be more than some X times the mean of the image, kind of thing. I'm guessing if it's below that, you won't be able to detect the star, would you?
Well, it's very interesting, actually, because we're averaging 1,000 or more images together in the Fourier domain, it can turn out that you can't even see the star in the image domain, but you still get a acceptable autocorrelation from it. And that's because we're actually averaging 1,000 images. It's just done in the Fourier transform domain.
Yeah, but wouldn't you need any kind of signal there to be there?
Well, the signal is
I
there. It's
mean-
just that you can't see it because, or it's very hard to see because of the noise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about seeing it. I'm just talking about measuring the pixels in the image.
Yeah,
And
well,
if-
to give you an example of where, you don't have to see the image in every, you don't have to see the target in the image, is when you stack, 1,000 short exposures. If you just keep stacking short exposures in the image domain, you'll
Yeah,
eventually
yeah.
find you'll find the object you're interested in, even though you can't
Mhm.
see it in each individual image.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so I
I'll-
think it's important that we set the maximum exposure time in the spreadsheet. And then if the star is very bright, you can reduce the exposure from there, but you probably shouldn't exceed it without
Okay.
maybe setting the exposure time to automatic in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You can-
Yeah, I could start with the maximum exposure time and then drop it down until
Mhm.
so basically working the other way.
Yeah, drop it in half each time until you are.
Yeah, in half, or take a microsecond off every time and go through it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then just get an image that has a reasonable maximum pixel and which is above the mean, which basically means you have some kind of signal there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I could try that.
Yeah, well, you could take it down until the brightest pixel is no more than, say, a third of the well capacity. That would work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Seems to me there's a pretty strong relationship that that wavelength brings into this. Of course, scintillation is much stronger in the blue and gets slower or weaker toward the infrared. And then the camera QE is, is what it is.
And the filter
Yeah.
response.
Yeah, and the filter response and the color of the star, all those things play together to make an optimum exposure in one filter for one star far different from another filter in another star.
Yep.
But you're talking about kind of tuning it for each condition, I guess. If you do a survey and look for an adequate signal, you're in a given filter and for a given star already, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, I'm really talking about just taking I was actually thinking about taking like 5 exposures and then averaging those, and then checking the signal for that. So yeah, it seemed to work okay, but we need to do some testing in the field kind of thing with it, and definitely have a maximum exposure time for any given target. I guess that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, it really is. I think we're not going to be doing speckle anymore if the exposure time gets to be, too long. So I think the observer that creates the target and the reference puts a maximum exposure time in it.
Yeah,
And for 12th mag star, that might be 50 milliseconds on on the 24, just because we don't want to smear the speckles, you know, by averaging for too long,
Right.
exposing
Yeah.
for too long.
So I could actually just take multiple images and average the maximum pixels out of there, and then get a reasonable average from that, and see if that's like yeah, if it's a reasonable amount above the mean of the yeah, the average mean of those images, then it should be a good measurement, I think.
Okay, great. So we'll look forward to using that function in this. How are we doing with the overall automation, Nick?
Yeah, I had to rethink that a bit because Leon did a test with the way I had it set up before, and Nina got awfully slow because it had to load quite a lot of sequences into memory, basically, and it was updating all the instructions within there, and so I changed it up a bit. I could show you what I've got now. It's not quite done yet, but I can show you a bit. So this is the old one. I haven't. I actually want to get rid of this this screen and then have it all in the sequencer. But I haven't gotten around to getting all the functionality over into the other one yet. But basically, you load a target set, and it'll have some defaults and things like that. I'll just make it a bit simpler here. So let's something like that. I don't know, just whatever. So this way, when I send it to the sequencer, it'll only load the first target into the sequencer, and I've actually put in the same table in here because I want to have a button here to load the targets, and then yeah, we can get rid of the other screen. But in this way, it just loads the first target up in here, and in this case, it's really simple. Just take some images and go to the next. But if I start this, it'll actually go take the images, go to the next target, load that, and play that. Play those sequences. So this one I didn't change it. It will do 3 cycles. So in that sense, this actually stays better. It works better. Nina is still responsive and things like that. So yeah, basically it's a much better idea to have it this way.
And have you tried it? Have you tried it to make a directory tree structure for retaining the images?
Yeah, that's already possible. Like this. This has been. Let me find the directory, and I'll show you. Okay. Right here. So the Leon had some targets here. So if I open that, I've got there's some targets here, So this is the targets and the cycle, and then the reference star for it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically taking some images and going to the next. And I think I've done this before, so there are double images in here.
Okay, so we're then ready to try Speckle Toolbox on that directory tree.
Yeah,
Um,
did you try it out on what Leon had? I think he tried it out on the 24-inch, and
We tried it on the 24, but I'm down here in Medellin today, but usually we're staying now up at the finca, and the internet isn't good enough to actually use any desk to transfer. It's just
Okay.
really horrible. It's
Yeah.
HughesNet, so it's satellite, up and down.
All right, yeah.
And very
Slow.
slow and very
Yeah.
kind of unreliable. And the remote laptop, the remote desktop programs don't like that at all. So
No.
to make a long story short, I can actually try it today because here I have really good internet. So I can put it on to the 24 and try it. And I think I'll do that. But I want to then distribute it. Once I get it to work or make sure it works, I'll distribute it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested in those results as well, because I mean the images need to be okay, well enough to process. So I'd really be interested in the result for that.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So I'll do that today, and I'll let you all know what I found, and we'll go from there.
Hey, when you said you distributed, did you mean the plug-in, or what were you going to distribute?
Well, I'll distribute Speckle Toolbox, the new version that has the kind of automatic bispectrum processing that goes through it. Okay.
Oh, okay, got it.
I haven't checked it yet. So I haven't checked it with I've checked it with my own fake examples on my computer, and it does what I expect it to, but that's no guarantee that when
Nick,
Nick, with the version that you distributed of the plugin, did you include a sample set of test targets?
No, I did share some targets on where was it, on the Slack channel.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure. You need to check if they're any good for you, because I think it's a couple of targets I got from one of you. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well, I can pick a set of targets myself. I just need to get the format proper in the
That's
file.
also something I've been talking to Leon about. He was using this program, I think, was it yours, David, for getting targets, and you could actually save it to a comma separated file.
Yeah, that's
WDS.
WDS.
We were testing that, and if you add the WDS targets, then I can get the name and all kinds of information from that. So
it should already be there, right?
I could make it so that you can just export this and then import it into Nina. I'm going to try to do that anyway, so I can. It's easier to then just create a list and then import it.
That's great.
Yeah.
In fact, why don't we talk about that for a minute? Is everybody familiar with the program WDS? Because it can really be a very nice way of getting information into Nina. Everybody, so the idea would be that you just select your targets in WDS, or hopefully also Gaia, the GDS is the kind of the equivalent for the Gaia doubles. And those go right into a spreadsheet when you say add to the target list, and you can put references in with it, and it just, you can create your own target list very fast. You don't have to look up coordinates or do anything, basically, right?
Yeah,
But there's some tricks to that, because the WDS coordinates are not very accurate. So that's why I added the Gaia coordinates for the 2 stars. So if you take the Gaia 0 coordinate that's given in WDS, as I recall, then you've got a very accurate coordinate for the target.
okay. Could you?
But then the format of that file needs to be converted to be the format that Nick has for his target list, right?
At the moment, yes, but I will make it so that you can
Yeah,
just.
you're going to automate that.
I can just make it that you can import the file it produces. So, Dave, could you maybe send me a file later with the Gaia parameters in there?
So
then I can see if I can use that to import the data.
let's take a look at that.
Doesn't WDS 1.3 do that? It has Gaia data.
So I sent you WDS 1.30, right?
Right.
I sent everybody this,
Mhm.
and if you select something here, add Gaia info, add it to the run list, and then find a reference star and add that to the run list. Okay, then we look at the observing list. We now have a WDS star with its 2 Gaia components that it found. It has a reference star, and then you can save that, okay, as a text file. Got it? And then that text file can be, let's just say, let me make sure this works before I test. It's, yeah, it's deeply buried in WDS. Okay, so I know where that went. Let's see if I can open it with Excel. So open. Now, deeply buried in here.
Mhm.
Sorry for that. Deeply buried inside of a bunch of stuff here. I think it's in there. Well,
I used it earlier this week to get the details for Calais' target list for Mount Wilson, and it worked fine. The only thing is that sometimes Gaia doesn't have both stars because it can't resolve them.
right. So where the hell did I put that? But that's okay. You don't need Gaia. You need one coordinate.
Yeah,
that
you don't.
pick off.
You've already got the details.
Sorry, the test.txt, there it
Is
is.
it test?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now, if you use the import wizard, I think you just say, maybe not, next, finish. Did it work or not? Sort of, right? Yeah, it worked. So there's the name of there's the actual WDS name of it, right? There's the discoverer's designation for the WDS and so forth. And here are the 2 Gaia stars that comprise the double star and so forth. So, and here's a reference star that you can use as your reference, and it has coordinates here and Now, I don't know about the reference star coordinate. It didn't actually parse this correctly, but that's okay. We can figure that out. It didn't parse it correctly into Excel.
Dave, didn't we have wasn't there an issue with the format in the RA in these files that when you imported them into Excel, it didn't like the nominal format?
Yeah, so Tom told me how to fix that up. There's, you go to data, you can fix up the format. You go to data and what is it, Tom? Do you remember?
There is
You're
a
muted.
format in Excel that is compatible with it, and you can scroll down
Yeah.
and select that. I forget what it was exactly.
You format the data. You click
Yeah.
on the column or something and you format the data,
Yeah.
Anyway, we can make that all work and Nick can bring that in. I'm sure Nick already knows how to do all that. He just has a comma separated variable file and he'll just parse it into the correct stuff anyway.
Yeah, if you have the comma separated file, then I can just import that and sort of select the template and the name for whoever wants to get that list. So yeah, then you can just load it in and have it added to the target list for that evening.
Right. Now let's talk about Gaia, what I call GDS. Okay. If it's loading the catalogs right now. Give it a
I
second.
think Leon had showed me this. This is what the file I got from him. I think he was using this catalog.
Yeah. So
And then I think he selected include the WDS data, and then write the C comma separated file when you have a list of targets. Yeah.
Exactly. The same idea here. I'll just apply these filters. I'll select one of these stars, include WDS data, write all of the records and write CSV file.
Yeah.
I cleaned this up a little bit to make it better. This will go on the desktop, which is a nice place to find it. And let's see what happens. Okay, so there's test.csv and voila, you've got a, hi. We got a bunch of information here that tells you how where the sequence number, they're not so useful because they're my own numbers, but the WDS index is of course very useful. And then over here, there's the WDS information is at the back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is all can be easily read in and you've got the right coordinates and all that here and so forth. So do you
notice those RAs in column G? That's the what needs to be reformatted.
Yeah, so I think if you right click on the column on G and you go to format cells, this is what I remember, and you make it what, text or something? I don't remember what.
No, I think it's time. Under time, there's this
time.
Go to time. If you go down at where it says 37, 30, 50, I think that's the one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but that's purely an Excel problem. It's an Excel importation problem, not a problem with the CSV file itself. Okay, so that's the important thing, is that Nick can just read it directly from the CSV.
Don't do anything to the file, just load it in, kind of thing. Yeah. That would be fine.
Does it deal with negative time? Okay. Is it?
Yeah, I could make it so.
Try the deck and see what happens.
Format, time. This one?
Yeah.
This one.
One below, 37.
The one that says 37.
So it deals with that perfectly well.
Good.
The
Good.
decks are correct.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
here
you've got
I've
lots
got-
of other nice information in
Yeah,
this.
the separation as well, and yeah, things like that.
And it has 3-band photometry and it has the magnitudes and on and on. It's nice. Okay, so that kind of. Nick, you don't have this program though, GDS.
No, I don't.
Okay, so the next thing I'll do today is I'll make sure I send again a link to the Google Drive
Yeah, sure. Then I can
spot
run it.
where you can get that. Okay.
Does GDS also, does GDS also have the reference star capability?
No, it doesn't, as
Doesn't.
I recall.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't think it does. Sorry. But Nick has a utility that finds the nearest SAO star that's not duplicate.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, that's already working, so that's fine.
Nick,
Okay.
I had
One
a
other
question
piece-
about the Nina screen that you showed us earlier.
Yeah, sure.
Where does the filter play into that input file?
Yeah, I'll show you.
I'm not familiar with Nina yet, but
No,
Yeah.
true. Basically, what you can do with for a speckle target, you can set up a template for what works on your setup, on your rig, and you can just add all kinds of things in here. You can set the default width and height for the speckle image, and you can also add things like where is it? Like here, slew to array and deck. Like you want to have it center of the target, or you can say slew and center. In this case, wait, where did it go here? So you can have it slew and center. That will use the plate solving software to point the telescope. You can then I created this to calculate the ROI position. So the X and Y will be calculated based on the plate solving result. So it'll take a full image, plate solve that, and then set the ROI position to the position of the star. Then you can, let's see, there's a whole bunch of things to do. Where is it? Here I can say you want to switch filter to whatever filters you have installed. And then you can add things like I want to calculate exposure time, for instance. You can set that. This is not finished yet, so it looks like the one I've copied here. But so that's still being worked on, but it'll calculate the exposure time needed and set that into this this instruction to take all the images.
well, it looks like
so-
it's completely customizable.
Yeah, you can
That's
do
great.
whatever you want with it. Yeah, you could also have certain triggers like exposure or autofocus or things like that. But I think that we'll put that on the list. Where is it? So we have where's it here, the list container. Where is it? Here. So I think I'll put some logic on here, so you can have yeah, here you can say, well, loop until time. You could say, well, I'll loop until the astronomical dawn, for instance, and then it'll loop through all the targets until it's dawn, and then it'll stop, and then you can park the scope and things. But yeah, for the target itself, you can do all these kind of things, and then I can save it as a template here, and then you have your own template you want to you could use for your speckle targets, and then in here, when you load the target set, I can then choose this new target set. This will be in the other screen in here sometime, but for now it's still here. But then you can choose that template to set your to run your program. So then when you add it to the to here, it has that template selected, and then okay, so I still have a small a slight thing here. I still need to work out some bugs in there in this, but basically it'll select that template for all these targets for this. So if I go back here, and then if I add this to the sequence, here you can see this is how it's supposed to work. So it'll, for this target, it'll do all these things, and then go to the next, and then it'll do the same for the reference star here, and then go to the next. It'll loop through all these targets, and
Hey, Nick,
yeah.
when it does the center target function where it does a plate solve and then determines where the target is in the sub-image, or where to put the sub-image, when that fails because there are too few stars in the image, what happens then?
Well, you can actually choose what you can what you want. I mean, this is really set up for automation, so it should actually go. I mean, it should work every time. But if it fails quite a lot, then maybe it's better to set the target position in a certain place where you know the target star will be. Then you don't have to run this. But you could say, well, I'll skip this instruction set, and then it'll skip the target, and then go to this next target set. Or you could say, well, I want to abort completely.
Okay, so you have a choice as to what the action is in that case.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. Yeah. Or you can say, well, I want you to try a couple of times, like before you quit completely.
Will it slew to a cluster and try to plate solve and recenter?
I wanted to create an instruction for that as well, instead of this one, but I've been too busy this week, so but it'll be something like the slew and center, and but then it'll slew to the nearest star cluster and plate solve that, then you can choose to slew back to the target, or you could say, well, I want to focus first and then slew back to the target, or something like that.
Great.
So, but that'll be a separate instruction for
Yeah,
that.
it sounds like it gives you a lot of flexibility to make it behave like you want.
Yeah, it's getting really there's a lot of possibilities, let's say. So,
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right, thanks, Nick. One last thing. Matt Dietrich at PlaneWave just wrote to me. So he's ironing out, as he says, the details of the schedule right now. We have a couple of other users on the 1 meter, as you know, so we get 25% of the time, which we will devote our bright moon time. We'll have a week every lunar cycle. And he wants to know when we want to set up a demo. In other words, a training session, I think is what he really wanted to say. Anybody have, and we can do that. Okay, so I'm traveling back to the States in about 10 days. I'll be back Wednesday-ish of not, let's see what's today, not the next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. I would like to do it, I think, from California. So start thinking about, we'll talk about it next Friday, but start thinking about if anybody wants to join, we can have a Zoom session, or we can all get onto the machine through AnyDesk or whatever. Okay. TeamViewer or AnyDesk. I don't know what Matt has set up. It'll be one or the other. So be prepared to have either TeamViewer or both, AnyDesk, right? AnyDesk and TeamViewer up to snuff on your computer, and then we can go do it. And Nick, you could join if the time is right, and we could even try, we might even be able to try Nina if you have it in a working state at that point.
I'll do my best to get the automation sequence up and running and working okay.
Yeah,
and
so
also if we can load the comma separated file from the GDS, or from there, then that would be really useful, I think.
okay, well, the next thing I'm going to do is to send you all a link again to GDS, and it has everything in it, all the catalogs and so forth. It's a zip file, usual, just unzip it and so forth. So that's that. So, you know, in a week and a half or 2 weeks, we should be able to try the telescope, and that's during the bright moon period anyway, when nobody else wants to use it. A big advantage we have is we can use the scope during the bright moon times. Okay, so anything else today?
I've got a couple following up on that. Are you guys used to Doodle? I can send out a Doodle that would help us select the time and just reply which ones you could make.
Right, but I've got to coordinate with Matt. So
Yeah.
let me do that, and I'll get back to you next Friday about when we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So as soon as we sign off, I'll send out the link to GDS, and I'll try the speckle reduction, the bispectrum reduction on this 24 computer.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got
Yeah, let me know whatever comes out of that. I'm really interested in how that turns out, how the images turn out.
Yeah, so the current email list, Pat, that you send out included Nick on that, right?
Yeah, this time it did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I see we had what, 13 people on that email?
It's at least that. I think that email list was shorter than our normal one. Yeah. I can add Nick to our full list if you want, but. are we-
Please, yeah, so I'd like to have an up-to-date email list
Yeah.
that I
I'll send it
can
to you.
send everybody the links to. I'm gonna do that pretty soon with Plate Solve
Yeah.
and with,
Yeah. That's it.
right.
Okay, I've got a question or two. It looks like we'll probably be able to get Barrow back up running sooner than I thought. So I think it'll be in time for ARE. It turned out that I think we found off the shelf adapters to make the thing work, but we haven't installed them. So it's always that last question, but I think certainly by the time ARE starts, we'll be operating. I got for Bassro, the Sierra one, I got a Pro Planet filter. I got the 742 IR. And I think I heard you guys say, maybe Rick said a week or two ago, that the one that started in the 600 range was better. Should I have gotten a different Pro Planet filter than the
Well, it
one?
depends on what you really want to do, but I think for general speckle, the 643
Whatever it is.
bandpass is quite a nice filter.
Okay, because this is
Yeah,
a
they call it,
742, and that
they call it-
QHY doesn't have much, it really falls off on its sensitivity at 742 and up. So, okay, I'll replace this with the 600 then.
Yeah, I think they call it 642 BP.
Okay,
I guess that
Bandpass.
stands for bandpass instead of
yeah,
their other filters are long pass.
right.
So this one has a fixed width.
Okay, I'll go for that and get rid of this one. The other one is, will Nina operate, since I don't have on the Barrow, I don't have a QHY 600, I have the Zuo 1600. Is Nina capable of running that? Is the software, will it be capable of running the Zuo?
Yeah, there's quite a few people running ZWO cameras, so they work fine. I haven't gotten to the live imaging, so you have to just take normal images, but that actually works quite well on most cameras. But you need to check the speed, and if I have to, I can see if I can add live view to that as well.
Okay, well, I don't want to disrupt what you're doing right now, but at some point I would love.
No, I can't do it right now, and I don't have a ZWO camera at the moment, so I can't even test it. So that's annoying.
Okay.
But, for the QHY live camera, that has actually been included into the standard Nina now. So that's good. So when I finish my plugin, I can just add it to the list of available plugins eventually, and then yeah, you can all just install it through Nina.
Cool.
So.
Thank you.
I had a question for you. Just very, very roughly, when do you think the system at SRO might come up?
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. We don't have a good handle on it yet, but I wouldn't want to count on anything before June. I think we'll beat that, but I think June will be something pretty well bank on.
Okay, and I was going to look into maybe starting a little program of eclipsing binaries that would, they would use more time than speckle.
Yeah. We can support those either place with Barrow or Bassro, because we're trying to do exoplanets as well, both places. So it's the same problem. Okay.
Of course,
All right.
Nina already has a nice plugin for exoplanets.
Yes, I want to learn that one. I'm very interested in seeing that. I've heard about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did it, right, Nick?
Yeah. There was one I did like a couple of months ago, or a year ago, something like that.
That's good. Anything else we got? Okay. Nothing? Okay. I'll update the email list and get it to you, Dave. And once you know Matt's availability, I'll send out a doodle so we can figure out a good time, the best time, we'll say, for the group.
Yeah, great. So we'll take care of that when we have a range of nights we could get on.
Yeah, cool. Great.
All right, great. See you next week at 10 a.m. Pacific
Yeah.
time. Okay.
Okay. 10 a.m.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll join you from Arizona.
Okay, thank you.